we're able to marshal our resources, Andy, and to get on a global scale information that we get back to government or the policy statements that really you have to be on the ground to get.
We have offices worldwide. In Africa, we have offices in Asia. We have offices in Jerusalem and Strasbourg. We have a presence in the United States, which is overwhelming and very laudable. And we're able to dig up information and to find resources and things that we can then transmit to the governments of these different countries and the United States government that allows them then to take the action.
While Rome burns, while the border crisis mounts because of the ineptitude of the Biden administration, while Christians are being held captive in Nigeria, Asia, and elsewhere, the ACLJ has remained vigilant, and our ability to do so depends heavily on our listeners and donors.
The way that Nigeria is seen through the lens has changed. And so Secretary Pompeo, when you were Secretary of State, we knew that there were a lot of issues with religious persecution in Nigeria. It wasn't necessarily done by the state. It wasn't necessarily done by the government, but it was not being stopped by the government. And it's a country that is basically divided between Christians and Muslims, very, very almost 50-50. They're supposed to have power sharing agreements based on religion. But you designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern. When the U.S. does that, what does that mean?
The work that the ACLJ did was very informative for our team at the State Department when we began to evaluate whether or not to designate them as a country of particular concern. It was viewed as farmers versus ranchers. The religious element of what was taking place there wasn't brought to the fore, but my team at the State Department worked this issue hard. We don't do this lightly. When we designate a country as a CPC, it's because there are egregious violations of religious freedom. And here, the largest economy, one of the biggest countries in Africa, is fundamentally violating the religious freedoms of Christians, mostly in the Northwest, but frankly, broadly throughout the country. And we wanted to use the full force of the United States law to convince President Buhari and the leadership in Nigeria that the right thing to do was to protect these religious minorities in these places from the threats of rape, assault, torture, having their villages burned. It was something that concerned us greatly, and the ACLJ contributed to the data set that underlay the decision that I made.
There's a report right now that there's 180 Hezbollah members that and supporters in the state within Germany, Lower Saxony. That's an increase of around 20 members just since 2019. And we know that there's this connection between, clearly a connection between Iran and the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Revolutionary Guard, and Hezbollah. But are they picking Germany because of the size of the economy, or is it a friendly territory to them? They're not getting picked up.
Like a balloon, when you squeeze it, the Trump administration squeezed Iran, and we shut down their financing to the greatest extent that's ever been shut down. We really implemented worldwide sanctions. We told European companies, you have to choose between doing business in Iran or doing business in the United States. As we squeezed that balloon, what happened? It came out on the other sides. And so you're exactly right. Iran and Hezbollah and all of those who finance terror tried to find safe haven. And that meant places like Germany and throughout Europe, which was our argument, my argument as U.S. ambassador, and my argument as acting director of national intelligence. I brought the information not only to Germany, not only to Brussels, where we testified in front of a committee on the problems. I took it to the French National Security Advisor, and they have this, attitude throughout Europe that it doesn't happen here. And we had to show them the evidence and drag them to the evidence to say it is happening.
The left in this country has a very well-known and overt hostility toward religious liberty. And with the amount of power that they now have over the Democratic Party, are you concerned that this issue, that is religious liberty, will take a back seat in the Biden administration?
I'm very concerned about it. Indeed, in the first 120 days now, or whatever we're into, we've seen this already. We've seen something they have almost a religious fervor about, the Green New Deal, take a precedence over the work that we did on religious freedom. Was very much a part of who we were in the Trump administration. Every place we went, this was a priority for us. We know that every human being is created in the image of God, and so we wanted everybody to have the chance to practice their faith in the way they chose. we worked really hard at it. And you can see on the left, whether it is their absence of willing to take any risk to help people around the world in China or other places or in Nigeria, protect these Christians, these religious minorities, or you can see it in the anti-Semitism that's now seeping inside of their party as well. They think about religious freedom in a way that is fundamentally different than the way that I do and the Trump administration did. And frankly, it's very different than the way our founders thought about religious freedom as well. Our Constitution protects that here at home, and this work demands that we work on it abroad.